Hello and welcome to the garden. Welcome to the channel as well. Uh, Calling this the Dirty Hands Garden because I'm almost always guaranteed to be getting dirty, getting my hands dirty. I'm doing everything by hand, not a whole lot of machinery here, which is a lot of fun. So, what are we doing today? So, it is about 5:30. So early evening on March the 9th, I believe it is. It's a warm day. I think it hit close to 70 today, probably upper 60s to around 70. Light freeze this morning. I checked about 6 a.m. It was 30 degrees. So big temperature swings this time of year, which, well, it's pretty normal most of the winter and into the spring, it seems, for Conover. Conover, North Carolina is where we're at. So what are we doing today? Planting some potatoes. So not just any potatoes, but store-bought potatoes. So why would I plant store-bought potatoes instead of seed potatoes? Well, have you ever had potatoes start to go bad on you? And by that I mean start to show sprouting. Maybe you left them in the light and they decided to take off. Let's get a look at one of these guys like this. You can see plenty of little sprouts on there. It's a bit soft as well. There's some green areas on it. Probably beyond the stage where we'd want to eat them. You could probably knock those off, cut out some of the spots that are a little softer and eat them anyway. But at this point, why bother? When we can take this probably, maybe a half pound, a quarter pound to a half pound of potatoes and make a bunch more out of them. Just be waiting a bit longer. So will this work? Probably. I've seen it work before. We're going to give it a try. Now where you see each one of those little spots on there where there's a bit of growth, you could cut this potato up, stick each section in as long as it's got one of those growth areas on it, and it might take off and grow. And I've done that. I've actually planted some white seed potatoes, so potatoes grown specifically to be grown out again. They're actual tubers. The term seed potatoes seems a bit confusing. Not actually seeds, they're potatoes just like this, but they were specifically grown disease-free, meeting certain standards so that you can be sure you're not introducing something in your garden that you don't want. However, I found that by doing this in the past, I haven't had any problems. We're going to give it a shot. These are going to be pretty distant from our seed potatoes that I planted, so if there is an issue, I can always just yank them out. But I don't think there will be. So have a look at our garden. So this is our garden bed. This was added all back in, well, starting in December. We got some mulch, and you can see off in the distance there where we just put some wood chip mulch down. And everything else is compost. So I bought about $200 worth of supposedly finished compost. It wasn't quite finished. Still a bit hot. We let that cook down a little bit more. I went ahead and used some of it anyway, just to get the bed ready, starting in December. And this is a no-dig style of gardening. No particular preachiness on this. It's just the style that I chose to do this. I've done many different methods before of growing, but this is one that I really like. So you can see, again, this was started in December, and there are practically no weeds. The reason for that is that we put down a layer of compost right over the grass. Over the top of that went cardboard, and you can see the cardboard here. And then finally another layer of compost right over the top of the cardboard. So this works really well for preventing weeds. The compost really feeds the soil, which then in turn feeds your plants. Healthy soil with active microbial life makes for really healthy plants. Yes, weeds would love to be in here too, but they've just been buried and they can't poke their way through the cardboard going up. But the plants on top are much more capable of poking down, so the roots are a bit stronger moving down than the stems are trying to come up. So this works great. You can plant right directly into the compost as soon as you put it down, as long as it's thick enough. But most of this has decayed down a bit, the cardboard has. As I've been poking plants into it, it's in various states of decay. Earthworms love it. They will very happily colonize in the cardboard. I'm not sure if they're eating it, but they certainly like to live at that level where the cardboard is. Okay, so let's just set up the camera here so you can get a look at what I'm doing. And it's really pretty simple. So what I'm going to do, simply poke a hole. Notice I'm not digging. I'm disturbing the soil as little as possible. That's because there's lots of living things in there that we want to stay in there, like earthworms especially. I've seen lots of them in here. If I go digging around, I'll cut up a bunch of those. So again, I could cut this potato into pieces, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to look for the biggest one of these eyes that have sprouted, and that's going to go on the top. I'm just going to drop that right in. Actually, I need a bit bigger of an area opened up to get this guy in there. Drop it right in and simply cover it over. That easy. So we'll plant this whole thing, mark it off at the end, and then see what it looks like in a few weeks when these start to sprout, and then make some potatoes for us. And we're back. So now, now you'll see that the potatoes are all planted. There were 11 of them total, and the variety we don't really know. We do know that they're gold. So I've created some handy labels with my label maker. And what I've done is I've placed 4 of them, one there, one here, one at the back over there, and one over there as well. There's also a bit further off to the upper right of the screen, there's the start of a row of onions. But within these 4 that you can see here, see if I can get along the shot. There we go. So within those 4, that's where those potatoes are. That way there's no mix-up as to where they are, what they are when they're coming up, and each one has its own individual label on there, so you can see what it is. I don't think it's showing up very well, but so you know, it is nice to know what variety you've got planted. In this case, we just don't know. We do know that they're gold because the bag says that they're gold potatoes. So this is really super easy. It's a favorite of kids for planting because it's super easy. Those and radishes are just really super easy to grow. Quick harvest on the radishes too. So plant some potatoes. You'll be surprised at how much you get back. And yeah, they're cheap in the store, but you know, it's so easy. It's just a nice way to get a lot of food from your garden in a small space. So, and one last thing, true to form, dirty fingers, dirty hands. Enjoy your day. Get out and do some gardening.